It's a beautiful September morning, and in between the showers there's some lovely sunshine. Hello and welcome back to the garden here in Neath, South Wales. Now, just because we are entering into autumn, it doesn't mean that the gardening year is coming to an end. There's still plenty to do. You can lift and divide plants at this time of year, and it's an ideal time to be doing some of your spring flowering plants, such as Brunnera or Heucheras. Just lift them up, divide them with a saw or a bread knife, and just replant them in. You can also put them in pots and keep them ready for next season. So there's still plenty to be getting on with, and I'm still planting in the garden. I bought some new plants last week and they now are in. So moving now to the bottom of the garden. It's still raining a little bit. You can see that in there I've planted the oleander that I bought last week, and I'm hoping that this will survive throughout the winter. Now, I didn't look at the label before I purchased it, so it's not supposed to be particularly hardy, and that'll teach me yet again for making another mistake. But I have spoken to one of my subscribers, and they have told me that theirs have been growing in their garden for 15 years. So thank you, Daphne, for the information, and that does fill me with a little bit of joy. So I'm hoping that this too will survive the British winters. I have tucked it away in between some plants, and it has got the fence behind, so it is protected there. So hopefully that'll make it through okay. Time will tell. Now, if I spin around the garden, so the sun is coming out a little bit, you'll see that that's where I planted the new Salvia, a Cuello white. And it does get a little bit of afternoon sun here, when the sun comes out anyway. So there's lovely flowers on that. And I really liked them colours as soon as I saw them, so I just had to have it. And that should fit in quite nice there, just against the pathway. This is the Euphorbia Honey Pot, and that does seem to be doing quite well. So I gave it a good water when I planted it in, but it does seem to be growing. And I'm hoping this will get as big as the John Phillips. It does say on the label that it will get to be about 1.5 to 2 meters across. So there's plenty of room here for it. It's looking very healthy. Now, it's a pity the same thing can't be said for this grass here. This is a Carex Irish green, and it's been in a few different places in the garden, but it never does well. But I'm just going to leave it here now and hope for the best. Now, in the centre bed, this is another example of a Carex Irish green, and just look how that one's doing. So I don't know what the difference is, but that one is doing really well, and it's looking lovely and green. Now, the miscanthus that I had in the garden and I took out and split, I've just replanted in a large pot, and I'm hoping now that this will come back next year. Fingers crossed. and this is the variegated type. And one thing that is loving all this rain at the moment is my golden bamboo, which is also in a pot. And just look at that. It's been quite a struggle to keep this going this year through the dry weather, but it's definitely loving all of this rainfall. And this has done really well in the pot. Beautiful plant, this. I've also planted in my Rozanne, and I've trimmed away a lot of the older foliage, and I'm hoping that this will give out 1 or 2 more flowers, and it's definitely perked up now since I planted it in. Now I am loving the Rudbeckia in the garden at this time of year, and when the flowers go over they do leave a lovely centre, and they are really brightening up the garden at this time of year. And I've also got another one right in the centre bed. Beautiful at this time of year. Now most of the plants in my garden are quite hardy, and I don't really bring an awful lot into the greenhouse. But one of the plants that I do tend to bring in is this yucca, but it's getting far too heavy now to carry, so I had to drag it along the path. But this now will stay inside the greenhouse for the winter. And first of all, what I do is I just bring it inside and then trim away any of the old leaves on it, just to make it look a little bit tidier. And after that then I'll just leave it with hardly any water, and it'll get through the winter beautifully inside the unheated greenhouse. I also just remove some of the weeds that might have grown inside the pot, and I just leave it then to absorb the sunshine inside the greenhouse. It's looking quite tidy in here at the moment, and I've brought in quite a few plants. I've got my Mangavi here, and Tony's favourite plant there. He's been after one of these agaves for a long time, and that's going to be planted into a nicer pot next year. There's also the agave pup, and just in the corner I'll just store this plant here for the winter. A lot of my viewers always say to me that my garden always looks really tidy. And yes, I do spend quite a bit of time tidying up the areas of the garden that I see quite regular. But I've also got those hidden corners that don't really get a lot of attention. And behind my tiki bar is where I've taken to dump in a lot of my pots, and that really needs a sort out. It's out of sight, so I don't get to see it very often, but it really does need my attention. But working full time, it's hard to fit everything in, so I just get as much done as I can in the time that's available to me. So walking down the garden now, you'll see that this year the roses have done extremely well. These ones here are the Meteor Rose, and they're such a beautiful colour on these. And the ones at the back, these are Floribunda roses. Now this year, the Tetrapanax has grown really well, and the leaves on this has grown absolutely wonderful. And there's my Capvim there at the back. Just look at the size that's gone on these leaves. And underneath the Tetrapanax, I have what I class now as my secret garden. And this year it's been underplanted, so most of this under here is totally new, and things that I've just moved from other areas of the garden, and that's giving now a completely new look in the garden. And I just love all the colours and shapes that are underneath here. The Schefflera Taiwaniana, that's done absolutely wonderful again this year. This I think is about 2 or 3 years old now, and it's grown to be a wonderful plant. I did move it and it gets a little bit more sunshine now. But all in all, the garden in its 4th year has put on some wonderful size. And it really is a pleasure now to spend time out here. Now this is the cycas and I planted this out this year. So hopefully this winter it'll do okay. It'll be the first winter that it's been outside. It's in quite a sheltered position against the wall. And there's some more plants surrounding it here at the back. Fatsia japonica and another palm tree. And yes, I hope now that this will do quite well here in the garden. The Dicksonia antarctica, that has put on loads of fronds this year. And this is on a 2-foot trunk. And considering that the trunk isn't that big, the width of the plant is absolutely magnificent. The fronds are really healthy, and I did feed this throughout the year. And also the cyclamen in the Belfast sink is just adding a little bit of autumn colour. I've been really pleased with the progress this year in the garden, and the size has been absolutely wonderful on the plants. And I hope that you are also enjoying time in your garden at this time of the year. And the weather that we're getting at the moment is really strange. 1 minute it's full sunshine and the next minute it's pouring down with rain. It just can't make up its mind. So I'm going to go in now and have a nice cup of coffee. I hope you've enjoyed having a look around the garden with me today. And until next time, I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.